Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Prop Circles 2. Today we have on our table is the Atomrc Dolphin Pro. Today we're going to do some tips and tricks on how to set up your servos on your V-tail. I'm not going to do the wings because it's pretty much the same as the tail. You're going to do the same thing as with the wings. A lot of people have been asking, hey, should I add a little bit of trim on my radio? You know, how much trim do you push up on the trim for your pitch? You do not use any trim on your radio when you're using a flight controller. If you're using a regular receiver, I can say yeah. The reflex on the Pro is 4. So you're going to add reflex 4 in your Inav. Um, and that's at level. When the plane is at level, you're going to add 4 to it. I might show you some PIDs in this video and what the PIDs I use on my first maiden flight I had. This is a new build. This one's getting 04. So I'm going to just show you guys exactly what I do to trim up my servos before I even start doing anything, before I put a flight controller in it, before I do anything at all. So first off, you're going to add your servos to the V-tail, which I've done already. I'm not going to show you how to do that. It's pretty simple. And this is for kits. This is not for, I think the P&P kits, I'm not sure if they have all the servos installed everywhere and just pretty much plug it in and go. I don't think they do. I think you still have to build it. The RTH kit, I know that's pretty much all ready to go. And then you got to add your VTX and so on and so forth. So yeah, what you're gonna do is you're gonna level up your servos as best you can, and how I do that is I use a servo tester. You can pick these up on Amazon. I think they're like $9 for 3 of them. This is just a 3D printed case. I printed off a Thingiverse. And what you do is on the one side you plug in a 5-volt. What I have on this side is a turbo BEC, so I can plug any battery into it when testing servos. And I plug both my servos into it. So I got my servo on this tail, which is an Emax digital servo, and one on this side. And I pretty much just put the servo's horns on, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to plug this in. You're going to plug your servos into this servo tester, and I believe it comes with instructions when you purchase them. They're like $9 on Amazon, like I said, and they work for all planes and everything. Even if you do an ESC, you can put an ESC on this side, and you put power to the ESC, and you can even mess around with ESCs and motors and stuff like that. And that's why I like these a lot, because the servo testers are pretty neat, because there's a lot of different things you can use them for, and for the price, it's pretty cheap. So you're going to plug your servos into this. And of course, you're going to make sure that your wires are going the right direction, black, red, and then your signal wire. The same thing on this side, and it shows you in the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug it in. It lights up, and as you heard my servos move. So what we're going to do here is, on this, it has 3 different stages on the servo tester. This one here is regular manual mode. Pretty much you can just move the servo around. As you can see, servo is moving, and I'm moving the dial. Same thing with the other side. Well, that one I think the wire came off. Hold on a second there. Same thing on that side. So this thing has 3 modes on it. It has, I'll show you right now. Push the button. One second, make sure I'm in frame here. So you push the button once, it centers the servo automatically for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to try to say, you can't even turn a dial. It automatically centers the servo. So when you're setting up and you need center, it puts it right in center. And that's on both of them, as you can see. That one too, it's in center. Then the third one is for like testing servos. So if you wanted to test servos, you just got in, or you want to check them out, see how the throws are, it's got, I call it the windshield wiper mode. So it's going to push it one more time, and you'll see it goes back and forth, full deflection on both servos. And for the price, I'll tell you what, it's not bad. For $8.99 for 3 of them, damn well worth it. So all I'm going to do is hit it one more time. That's going to put it in manual mode. and then one more time, and that is going to be dead center. And then if, of course, if the horn was off, you're just going to take a screw out, move it, and make sure this is center on the back, because we're going to hook up the rods in the back to make the V-tail level. So that's how I do. Even the wings do the same thing. So now we can just unplug this, because we already know what that is already straight for us. Neutral position. So on this, pretty much, is you're going to use the small rods in the bag. I mean, this is going to be a little, this video is going to be a little long because we're going to put this together. Usually I use a tray, but I'm going to end up doing is taking my tray I have here for my Allen keys, and I'm going to dump all the screws and the linkages in here. So we're going to be using the smallest ones. There's two different sizes, as you can see. You got the long ones, those are going to be for the wings, and then the short ones are for the V-tail. If you got the P&P kit or the RTH kit, they're pretty much be installed for you already. I would definitely still, doesn't matter if it's ready to fly or whatever the RTH stands for, and it's already pre-built for you, I would still check all my servos, make sure they're all level before even turning on the flight controller, before turning on anything. Make sure those servos are level and straight, and then all your flight surfaces are, everything is level. I mean, you don't want it up like this, and you don't want it down like this, and you don't want a little bit off. You want those suckers level like that. And then what you would do is you would turn the turnbuckle in or out, and you could take one side off here, like one of the screws off here, and you could just turn this in or out, whatever way you need to go, and make sure that they're level. But this has to be level. If this is not in center, and just say you turn the plane on and these aren't center, you're going to be off either up or down. So this is how I do it. I mean, other people might do it differently, but this is how I do it. And if you don't have the servo tester, you can just fire it all up with all the wires connected to it. And just like I said, make sure if you're using a flight controller, make sure all on your radio, everything is center on your radio for your trim. You don't want up or down on trim or on anything, even your throttle when you're using a flight controller. Then what I usually do is, if it's all connected already and you don't have a servo tester, you don't need a servo tester, I will go in Inav and select in one of your modes, manual mode, and then have a manual mode on one of the switches in your radio, in your transmitter, and when you turn on the plane, put it in manual mode, and then all your servos, you'll see if they're level or not. And all your, even on your wings, the same thing. If they're not level, then you're going to have to take one screw off, like I showed you, one screw off on the control horn, and you're going to adjust this. Or if you see that this arm is off and you're in neutral, if it's back or forward, you're going to take the center screw out, pull the horn off, put the horn back on, make sure it's level, and you're probably going to have to readjust this. You definitely, all your surfaces should be level before doing anything with the plane at all. That's going to make the plane, everything is going to be lined up, so when you go and adjusting everything, and when you go for your first maiden flight and you have all your stuff set up perfectly and you go to throw it, everything will be level. So there's two different types of screws in there here. I found out when I was building my first kit, you got a short one and a long one. On the wings, I've been using the short ones. One on the short one would go on the servo side, and then the long one is going to go on your servo horn side. So we will put one in here. I believe I have this one already unscrewed. I mean, I already have it unscrewed. I think I already have a hole in this one to add the screw in it. Let's see. I'm not 100% sure. This is my son's plane that I'm helping him doing the tail on because he's busy doing car stuff. So this one is not drilled out. I don't believe so. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to drill out the holes. I've been using on the servo horns, I believe, on my other one that's up here, I am using the last hole. Let me see. No, I'm using the second hole. I'm sorry. I'm using the second hole. So what I have is like a little mini drill. And for the servo horn, I drill it out with my little mini drill on the second hole. That's what I'm doing right now. You can use a little Dremel drill or whatever you want to use. Find a bit that's a little bit smaller. I usually like to do smaller than the screw. So once you get that out, you're going to take, I said, the short screw, put it in one of the halves on one of either side, and then we're going to screw that into the servo. I appreciate everybody watching and liking my videos and commenting. You guys need any other information or need anything other help on building your planes or anything, not just the Dolphin but anything else. I've been building planes since the 80s. I love it. I enjoy it. It's my hobby. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, I don't know everything, but I do know a lot. So as you see, I just moved the servo, which I should have been holding the horn straight. And you don't want to keep pushing back and forth on these servos because you can damage the servo. So what I have to end up doing is putting my servo tester back on it, and I could just do the one side because that's what I'm working on. Plug this in into the one side for the servo. And we're going to level this right back up again. And hit the button one more time, and it's level. And then we can unplug it. You can leave that plugged in. It's not going to drain the battery at all. So as you can see, I have the one side on for the servo. And you'll notice too, I noticed on my build when I was first building it, you definitely had to adjust these. The linkage on my plane I first built was too long, like this one's too long, and I will adjust it all the way in as far as it will go. That's what I normally do. You don't want to crank it because you can snap off these ball ends because it's plastic. It's not really good plastic. I mean, it's decent, but so now I adjusted it all the way in. And kind of see how level it is in the back. And I'm using the end hole on the servo horn on the plane, not the servo horn on my servo. So we're going to use a long screw in the back because it's a lot thicker than the servo itself. And what I like to do is just put the screw in first without putting the nut on the end, but it comes with a nut. And you're going to look at your surface and see how level it is. Mine's just a little, very little bit off. I might be able to adjust that in Inav, but I'm going to try to turn it one more turn to see if I can get it closer. So I'm going to pull my screw back out, give it one more turn, just a half a turn, not a full turn. And then I'm going to put the screw back in and see if that helped any. And as you can see, it went down more. So I think I went the wrong way. My mistake. So we'll turn it out one. We'll turn it out one more. And then we'll put the screw back in. Again. That's kind of weird with the camera in the way doing this, but so as you can see now how level the surface is on both sides. That's what you want when you're setting up your plane. And you can see I have the screw in. I'm going to put the nut on this end and the nut on that end. I have a little wrench that I put the nut on this end, and this, you can flip the screw around if you wanted to, but it has You can spin this in the hole. I don't like to do it on the servo side. I make the hole a little tight so when I'm screwing the screw in, it makes really good contact and it's snug on the nylon, because that's what that is. And I'm going to put the nut on both of these ends and we'll show you what happens after that. And that's pretty much it. You do that same thing on all the wings, the same way you set this servo up in the back. You do the same thing exactly for the wings. As you can see, I have nothing in the plane at all. I don't have the speed controller. I have nothing in there. I do all the servos first. And I did have to cut these Emax servos down, but it did give me some space on the bottom. As I was saying in my one video, that you might have to cut the wire down. This one I cut the wire down just a little bit off and it fit in there perfect. I use a piece of tape here to hold the wires in, and I hot glue my servos in, and then usually put a piece of clear piece of packing tape over top of the servo so it doesn't back out on me. So let's go ahead and put the nuts on the servo here. I got 2 of those. I have my little bit that I use that comes in my kit. I'll start to screw the nut, with my hand. Sorry about the long video. Just trying to kind of explain it a little bit better. Don't want to rush it and people are like, what did you do? What was that? Huh? These kind of videos help a lot with people that don't know exactly, might be their first plane they ever built. But this is definitely what you do first. Any person that's been building planes for a long time or knows the hobby really well when they're building planes, servos are #1 key. You want to get them things straight as possible. You want to get everything level. The more level you get it, the better it's going to fly for you. It's going to be set up a lot easier. When you go to trim it out in Inav or whatever software you use, it's gonna be a lot better for you. If you've watched my video, I did it. All my planes are set up that way. The key for success is leveling these servos out, and also just going over all your software in Inav and making you know what you're doing in Inav. Should be able to tighten this one up. I kind of hold it with the Allen key and then just use my thumb to tighten it up. Or you can also do is back the screw out until the nut hits the nylon back of the servo arm. Like that, and then I'll just tighten it up. And big thing is too is make sure these suckers are tight, but not like super tight so you snap it off. And there we go, all said and done. It's a good 18-minute video there for just explaining how a servo should go in your plane and how level it should be. And like I said, you shouldn't be pushing on these servos and pushing them back and forth without power on. So we're going to power it up and see how well we did there by setting all that up. We're going to put the servo on, check how level it is, hit the button once. Well, we were already in 2, so that's going to show you how well it is working. I call it the windshield wiper mode. This is manual mode. I can do it myself. And then hit it again, and that's center. And as you can see how we are like spot on there. I'm going to do that with all your servos. That's how you set them up. So that's pretty much it, guys, on setting up your servos in the plane. I think 20 minutes is long enough to explain how to do that. Pro is very easy to put together. The motor mount in the back, the plate, it fits all different kinds of motors, so it will fit right in there. There's no need for an extra different plate. It will fit the quad motors. It will fit regular airplane motors. I forgot the dimensions on it, but they do fit pretty much a lot of different motors. So there's no sense to 3D print a plate. I mean, there will be people that print a plate out to make it the motor sticking out farther for the noise. It doesn't bother me, so I'm not going to go get it all into that. And that's pretty much it. And then, like I said, you just do all the other sides like that. Now I could probably do is show you some of my settings. I only did a maiden flight of the plane. I really didn't do too much other setting up anything. So we will go over to my PC. Alrighty guys, so we're here at the computer and we have Inav 8.1. We have the Dolphin plugged into it, so we're going to connect to the Dolphin. I'm going to kind of skim through this pretty quickly so my GoPro doesn't overheat. It is kind of warm out today. So we're going to go right to tuning, and here are my gains, if you can see them. The main PIDs is 15.3, 7, 52, 15, 5, 5, 227, 50, 0, 21, 28. That's the main PID gains. The additional P gains, I don't mess with them. I leave them the way they are. The rates and expo, I do mess with them a little bit. I usually turn up what did I use in here? These are pretty much set, I believe, the same too. I don't mess with them. I left them stock. The filters, I don't mess with them at all. The mechanics, as you can see, I have the level trim is at 4. That's the only thing I changed on the mechanics. Everything else I left the same. And like I said, the filters I left the same, the stock. Rates and expo, that is done by your auto tuning, so I didn't mess with any of that stuff. Additional PIDs, I didn't mess with any of that. I don't have any dolphining when I'm returning to home or anything, so I left all them the same. And then the main PIDs, the only thing I changed was my feet forward on all 3 of them, and that was it. I didn't touch anything else. But that's what my feet forwards are. Let's see. You're not going to want ports. This is just pretty much all your basic stuff in Inav for your outputs. I'm not going to get too deep into Inav. I could be here for hours explaining everything in Inav, but I'm not going to do that. Pretty much a lot of it was just the basic setup that I went with. And my plane's going to scream out, well, it just connected to GPS. Like I said, the modes, I have manual mode set on mine, so I can fly in manual mode when I'm flying, but these are all my settings. ARM manual, nav loiter, nav return to home, auto tune, and auto trim. Usually when I'm all done tuning and trimming, I take these off. I no longer use them. GPS, of course, those are my GPS settings. Yours might be different than mine. The mixer, explain a little bit here on the mixer itself. So when you end up hooking up your plane and everything to Inav, and you're setting it all up, and you got all your servos connected, your servos are up here. It's S3, S4, S5, and S6. That's the way it should be on the plane. Your left and right, and then your tail. That's the way it should be set up. It should be airplane V-tail. Normal motor direction. Your regular prop direction. And then down here on the bottom, the 2 things you want to look at when you're doing the tail is if your tail is, the servos are backwards and are not going in the right direction, and you switch them, and I believe that is in, let me see, in your output when you reverse the servos, you reverse them, your pitch is going to be reversed, so you have to go to your mixer, and then where your mixer's at, where it says pitch, you're going to, if it's not minus 50 and it's 50, you're going to put a minus 50. So that's going to make it go the opposite direction. And the same thing with your yaw. So both or mine are minus 50. And that's pretty much it. Figuring out the servos and how to change them on the V-tail. Then what other thing is my advanced tuning. And of course I'm running the SunnySky 2216-7 kV 1300. So my idle throttle is 15, my launch throttle is 19, my idle throttle delay is 3 seconds, climb angle is 22, you don't go with 25, launch timeout is 10, don't really mess with anything over there. And then over here on this side with your fixed wing navigational settings, my minimum throttle is 12, max throttle is 17, and cruise throttle is 14. I'm probably going to end up turning that up because it was kind of slow when I went into loiter. All the other settings I have here, like your return to home and everything, is pretty much explanatory. I'm not going to get too much into explaining all that. Pretty much, basically, you can leave it set that way. I mean, your return to home altitude, I set mine at 200. And you can change some of that stuff. You can just leave it to whatever basic settings in there for your first maiden flight. So that's kind of giving you guys a little bit of knowledge about the Inav, how mine is set up. Biggest thing is just take your time setting it up in Inav. Make sure all your surfaces are level. Make sure you don't have one side up and one side down. When you're in manual mode and you're at, you know, your neutral trim, they should be all neutral. They should be all flat. They should be all level. That is like the biggest thing. I'm really, I should say, anal about that. When I set mine up, I make sure all my surfaces are level in manual mode. If I got to take off the rod 3 or 4 times to adjust it, I'll adjust it and then go in and then set up all my servos and make sure everything's thrown the right direction and everything. And then when you're flying, you're not going to have a little bit off to the left, a little bit off to the right flying. It's just going to go straight. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to end this video here. This has been a really long video. I'll have some more videos out and down the road of the Dolphin Pro, and I will definitely have some more flight videos of the Dolphin Pro. The weather here is starting to break. It's still windy. Might not be doing a video today. I might be doing one tomorrow. I will get as many videos as I can possibly out. Like I said, guys, I appreciate everybody liking and subscribing to my channel. And if you're not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button to see more videos like this. And I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful Memorial Day. Thank you.